I'm going to do a little work on my blackberries today. I don't have a lot to do since I pruned them and tied them all up late fall, early winter. But I do like to check on them ever so often, see how they're doing. I got a little surprised when I looked at them last week that I thought I'd share with you. You can see they haven't lost any of their leaves yet, so hopefully those will come off soon. But I also propagated a number of the canes last year, and have had some difficulty in the past doing it, so I switched up the method after watching some videos, and it looks like they may have actually worked this year. So I thought I'd bring you along to show you that process. Welcome to Homemaker Living. Just to give you a brief overview of the plants that I'm growing, I have two Columbia Star. Well, they're supposed to both be Columbia Star. I know for sure that that one is Columbia Star. This one had a Columbia Star tag in it, but it's growing completely different than this one for 2 years in a row now. It looks different and it does not survive the winter, so I believe it's the wrong zone. So I'm probably going to dig that one out and plant an Olali blackberry here. And then this one is an Aparo. I got it from a local farmer's stand, and while it is doing well this year and it's got some decent stalks on it, I wasn't really thrilled with the berries last year. So I may go ahead and dig that out, give that one away, and then be able to move some of my propagated berries in here. Let's take a look at my favorite berries that are on the end. And so these ones, I believe, are Olali blackberries. They were on the property when we purchased the home, and they were out front. And we dug them up and brought them back here to get them in the garden. And so after doing a little bit of research, I believe that I figured out that the Olali blackberries, they are so good. They're large, they're soft, they're silky, they melt in your mouth. They're not very seedy. And so I want to grow more of them. So that's why I did some propagation last year, so that I could fill in where I was going to take those two out, and then I might pop one on the end and then maybe give the rest away if they worked. So at any rate, we moved these back here 3 years ago. This is their third season. And what we didn't realize is that we didn't get them all. So out front, there are still, I think, 3 crowns that have produced more bramble vines. And so we're leaving those there, but I need to do some work on them. So I thought I would show you those as well. But so these ones are doing really well. They are healthy. They grow really well. And these are the ones I propagated. Let me show you what that process is like. And then I'll show you one that did it wild, or 2 of them that did it wild in nature. And I think that's just the way to go. There's no sense in taking cuttings and using rooting hormone and putting them in soil and trying to get them to root. I've done it a number of times. It has never worked. And so then I learned this method, and I'm happy to say I think it worked. So let's take a closer look at that process, and then I'll show you what those look like. I'm on the back side here of the blackberry trellis, and this is the last crown that is on the trellis. You can see it's nice and hardy and healthy. And then it sent out a shoot right here way off to the left. And I was going to dig it out. And I thought, well, no, maybe I'll go ahead and try to propagate it. So I watched some videos to figure out how to do that. And essentially what you do is you fill up, you can do it in the soil, but what I've seen people do is fill up a bucket of soil. I amended it and then took the tip. As you can see here, it's been cut off because that's where I cut it off when I took it in. And so the fresh tip that's growing, the real tender end of it, you go ahead and you plunge that into the soil. And then I finished and topped it off with the soil. And I used a landscape staple to make sure it held in there good, because got some spring. It kind of wanted to spring out. And then I just let it sit here for, it ended up being about 10 weeks before I cut them off and took them in the garage when it started to freeze. And I didn't want the little tender roots that could be developing to freeze. And so that's the cutoff of where that came off. And then I took them into the garage, overwintered them, kept them nice and moist. And we should go take a look at them and see how they did. They're looking really good. And one of the things that I was really surprised and excited about is the growth that it's showing. So this is the cane again that I cut off, and since it's last year's primocane, which should be this year's fluorocane, it should produce new growth and berries. And I can see on the cane right in here where they're actually producing some new leaf buds. And down in the soil, you can see a new cane that's coming up right there. So I will have to say that this was a success, and I'm very excited about it, because the other ways that I have propagated just using cuttings and rooting hormone has never worked for me. So I have this one I just showed you, 1, 2, I plunged it into the soil, and then it turned around and made a U-turn and came back out of the soil. So this particular, here you can see the tip there, this particular one, I have 2 canes on. Then here's a third one. I can't tell if I have any growth coming out of this one. I do not. So I'm pretty darn excited that it looks like it worked. When I was out here the other day, I was taking a look at the bramble and just kind of keeping my eye on how they're doing. Last year I had some loss, and so just curious to see how everything's doing. I noticed this particular vine was looking kind of odd, and so it was attached down there and it was attached up here. So I wasn't sure, was it coming from that plant? And then when I noticed that it was coming from the aparo and followed it down, and I had it tied up here at one point onto the trellis, it grew longer and then it dipped down into the ground. And so what they do in nature is, you know, they grow really long and they arc, and how they propagate themselves to create a new plant is when that tip hits the soil, it will instinctively root and then create a whole nother crown then to grow from. And so it was fun to take that method that I learned of propagating in the buckets of soil, then to come out here, you know, I don't know, 5 months later, 6 months later, and see, oh my gosh, in nature it actually did it itself here. And so my idea is to uncover it. Oh yeah, it comes right out nicely. Look at that. See if I can give you a close-up here. Can you see that? Created those roots very nicely. So that was the tip. And it would have had little tiny leaves on it. And but then those didn't develop and it went to roots. And so my idea today is to go ahead and, even so this is a variety I don't think I'm going to keep. I wasn't super thrilled with the berries. I mean, they were fine, but when you eat the olali blackberries and then you eat one of those, you're like, why am I growing those? I'd rather grow more olali. So anyway, I went ahead and filled up these containers with some soil, because I have another one that I want to show you that I'm doing as well. But I just figured I would put it in some really great soil and let it root in a little bit better, and then cut it off the mother plant, because the mother plant is still keeping it alive. So I'm a little leery to go ahead and cut it off right now. I'd rather just see how it does. Kind of an experiment, because like I said, it's not a berry that I'm super interested in, but I love the fact that it did it itself. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at the olali blackberries that are still in front of the house. I still need to clean them up, prune off last year's growth, I need to trellis them and give them a little bit more attention that they deserve. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. And unfortunately, wouldn't you know it, that as if I finally get out here, the sun has moved and now this whole corner where I'm working is shaded. So it's going to be a little bit hard to see, I think. Bear with me though, because I do want to get this project started today. So in this corner, here is one crown that has about 3 new canes out of it. So these are primal canes from last year. There'll be fluoro canes this year, bearing fruit, and all of the dead wood that had fruit on it last year is all dead and ready to be taken out. So that's one crown. Then there's another crown right here, and a third crown right there. I don't believe there's any more. So there's 3 plants out here, which is amazing. They get good sun all morning until that sun whips around on the other side of the house. So I'm going to get after it. Here's what I'm taking out, all the dead wood. Whew. All the dead wood, and you can see where the berries were last year. Obviously we missed them. There's some berries there. And so this will not do anything this year. And the new canes, these will all produce, well, new last year, will produce berries. Okay, now we can see a little bit better with all the dead wood out. Oop, there's one more I got to take out right there, little guy. So that one's looking a little cleaner there. I just have those propped up on the hose reel. Then here's spot number 2, looking really good. One of them's bent, but I think it'll be okay. And those are just kind of hanging out there. And then here's that crown here in the corner, and this is where we have the one that rooted in. So these 2 are just as they are. You can see the tips how they normally look with fresh little new growth on them. But this one here in the back arced over, touched not really even the soil, just the rocks. And instead of it having the end with leaves, it has some sorry looking roots, but I think we can still get it to root in. So we're going to go ahead and put it in a container. Okay, here's the container already prepared with some soil. Didn't fill it all the way up, so I didn't have to dig a hole. Get it in there so it doesn't want to pop out. And then we'll add some soil. I guess there's no need to take the other leaves off. Those will just root as well. They should. Okay, I don't think that's going to flip out. Yeah, we'll give it some water because those roots look kind of dry. And just keep it moist. And then we'll come back another day and maybe when I plant them to see how they did. My husband popped out here a couple days later and put this trellis in, and then he wound all of the long canes on the trellis just to get them off the ground. When the new canes come up, I will be sure to get them attached to the trellis and pruned to produce lateral growth, which we'll get most of the berries from. And I don't expect a huge harvest, but since they're out here, I'm going to go ahead and make sure to manage them like I do the ones in the back, and we'll get some type of harvest from them. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull the rocks back and feed them. I see I already have some new growth. There's 2 canes coming out here, And then on this one, there is 2 there and 1 hiding back there. And then on the third one, there is 1 coming up here and 1 hiding back there. So that's super exciting to see already. Just going to add a little bit of a balanced fertilizer. This is Down to Earth NPK of 444. Also going to add some Down to Earth fish bone. It promotes your flowering buds to help ensure that you get a little bit more flowers for budding for fruit. And I'll just very so gently work it into the soil so that I'm not disturbing the new canes. Then I'm going to top it with a little bit of my home compost that I started last year, and now it just looks so good. Put a good couple of handfuls on there. Make them happy. This project is complete for now. The only thing I have left to do is prune off the leaves from last year, and then as the new shoots grow up, attach them to the trellis and prune them for lateral growth. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.